What is up, everyone? Welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame show, powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Neil. With me is Doug. Doug, the Pirates lose another tough one, 18-8. Oh man, this is brutal.
I have a list of things I'm upset about. Would you like to, just indulge my list for a second?
Go for it.
And then we could discuss anything. All right. So I'm not necessarily upset.
I'm anxious to hear your list, but let's do this first. Talk about our friends over at Bet Online.
Handle the business.
Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the preseason NFL to college kickoff, Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads when the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in our winner-take-all 300 NFL Survivor pool for the upcoming season. When the game is over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or a line at one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use promo code BELIEVE to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. They are. There's a lot of reasons to be upset about this baseball team right now, isn't there,
Doug? There is. I've got a list. I'm sure I will miss things off my list. I've been compiling it all night. I'm not necessarily mad that they're moving Cruz. I'm certainly mad about the way they've handled it. I'm mad that Mitch Keller still throws a cutter. I'm mad that when Mitch Keller has runners on base, he acts like he doesn't have runners on base. He doesn't even look over to first base. I'm mad that Domingo Germán is on this roster, and I'm mad that he stayed out there for 192 pitches in an inning that he wasn't on. I'm mad that Nick Gonzalez gets thrown out at second because it doesn't matter what we do, we get thrown out on the base paths. I'm mad that we are in year 5 of a 10-year rebuild, because it's certainly, they certainly can't be planning on doing anything in 5 or 6 years. But of all the things that upset me the most today is that Brady Feigl, not that he came in, but that we took this wonderful human moment, this like triumph over adversity, and had it happen in this dreck. And I know he ended up sort of having a really bad outing, but it was this wonderful, sweet moment. His family's there, and his mom is crying, his wife is. It's this wonderful thing, and we had to drop it in the middle of this garbage. This is a terrible team. It's a terrible organization. I don't understand. Thank you for all of you for being here in the chat. Yeah. Go call a therapist. What are you doing?
We're listening to North Shore 9 is cheaper than therapy.
Go play blackjack on Bet Online. Right? Yeah.
I vote for Matt. I think Matt has the right idea. What movie? Do you want to talk about the big about everything collapsing after several years? Because that sounds like we talked.
Yeah. Or Bob. Didn't we do that one? All right. I think we had that.
Yeah. Or Bob Dunning's favorite movie, Margin Call. Stuff like
it's just awful.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we want to start, I guess the best place to start is Mitch Keller, who has been really, really rough in the month of August. And today was no different. Keller only gets through 4 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs given up, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. He just kept loading the base paths today. He didn't really seem to be having his best stuff, and he hasn't had his best stuff for a while now. Like, it seems like it hasn't been. And I know you mentioned the cutter, but really, it's not just the cutter. Nothing really looked all that great from Keller tonight.
No, he was hit hard tonight. This was not soft contact. It wasn't bad luck. he pitched poorly. His ERA is now up to 3.82. Last year it was 4.21, I think, at the end of the season, and he's in danger of having an ERA over 4 for a guy who has these wonderful stretches of dominance. And this year's stretch of dominance was longer than last year's, and hopefully next year's will be longer than this year. But he hasn't been a whole season pitcher yet. And I followed baseball a long time. I followed the Pirates. I remember Doug Dravick would have a good half season and a bad half season before he kind of turned it on. I remember this happening with other pitchers. I remember it happening with Greg Maddux when I was living in Chicago and watching a lot of Cubs games. But he needs to be able to figure out a way to have 6 months of consistent. Everybody's going to have a bad start. Everybody has a stinker. It's fine. But again, the Pirates are such a, we're so cheap. Least we could do is get some of the little stuff right. That was like a bad little league game with every single Cubs player stealing bases. It's bad enough you're giving up the hits, but just look over your shoulder a little and at least make the guy inch back toward first base because Yasmani Grandal can't throw anybody out.
But that's what
nobody.
It was a bad combo of Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller not holding runners on and Yasmani Grandal. I still don't think he's thrown a runner out all season. I'm pretty sure he's still yet to throw out a single runner at second base. So very bad combination. The Cubs got
I'm not sure, but it hasn't happened a lot. Right?
Yeah, 7 steals off Keller tonight.
They had 8 at one point.
Yeah.
I know that at one point they had 8. And then we thought, they won't steal anymore and I think they then stole another one. I don't know. They had a lot of stolen bases. Embarrassing. Very, very little league. Very just, sort of unserious, unprofessional organization. This whole game, every bad thing that you think about the Pirates was on display tonight, right? They're poorly managed. They're poor roster construction, poor, just, everything about it was magnified tonight in one way or another.
Well, and maybe this is the wrong place. And I'm going to jump a little bit ahead here, where you're talking about unprofessionalism, and maybe it's just because I had to sit down and watch this terrible game. But it just rubs me the wrong way seeing Paul's out there on the mound smiling and laughing with Grandal as he's throwing pitches down the middle of 10 runs. Like, you're hitting batters. You are you're laying up runs. We're losing by 10 runs. You've been terrible for a month. And you're out here just laughing like there's not a care in the world. Like that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I agree with you. It's right, because it doesn't seem like anybody in this organization cares about winning, right? Us fans care. It doesn't seem like anybody else does. And I know that some of the players, again, guys like McCutchen and Reynolds, they have this demeanor of, one at a time is bad when you just throw them out. And I get that. But I just, like you said, yucking it up when you're being beat by 10 runs and it's just a bad look. A smart professional athlete would think, optics wise, this is, maybe put my head down and look a little embarrassed because I've been part of just a terrible, terrible outing in a series of terrible outings. And I get, that Tellez was in there because things were over and it was junk, but I don't know, seemed to take it to heart, seemed to take it seriously.
Yeah. And it sucks because even though Keller was not at his best and he got up a lot of steals, he still limited the damage. Considering there was 9 base runners in 4 innings, it would have been a whole lot worse. And considering he gave 9 base runners and 7 runs. Sorry, 3 runs off of 9 base runners and 7 steals. It was 3-2 after Keller exits.
When he left, it was 3-2. Right.
It was 3-2 because
you're still in the game theoretically.
G1 Bay ground out that scores Triolo from Triolo's triple, and then Brian Reynolds is his 20th home run of the season. So it is 3-2. So you were going into this 5th and 6th inning, and I think the last time we were on together, we had Domingo Herman, where we both begrudgingly kind of complimented him and said he had a good outing. And today was a different story. Domingo Germán completely.
His fifth inning was great.
Yeah, destroys any chance the Pirates have to win this game by pitching 2 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 walks, 8 runs. And it was all in the top of the 6th.
He Cam viewed it.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, 8 runs for the Cubs in the top of the 6th, and that was all she wrote. Like, you're not coming back from 11-2. And I think it almost feels useless to harp on the fact that it's Germán, because everyone knows that Domingo Germán isn't good. Everyone could read Fangraphs. They could see he was terrible in AAA. And so instead, I want to use Germán as the start of the list. You ready for this list, Doug? And for our audience, just keep in mind.
Absolutely.
We are in year 5 of the Ben Sherrington project. This was supposed to be a competitive year. These are a list of players who, in a competitive year,
they said it themselves.
You played a game today for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Domingo Germán, Brady Feigl, Jared Triolo, G1 Bay, Yasmani Grandal, Nick Gonzalez, Connor Joe, Billy McKinney, and Alika Williams. I could have added more names, but I'm being nice. I think I just listed about 8 players who would not be rostered in any serious organization on this planet. This is a lineup, and the players that we saw today would not be out of place in 2021, and it's 2024.
Right. There was a span in tonight's game. Again, I wasn't playing the closest amount of attention, and somebody got a hit or something like that. And I was like, is he the 9th batter? Or because I was wondering, like, hey, somebody got on base, and maybe the top of the line is coming out. And it occurred to me, we had 6 9th batters in the lineup tonight. And that's, to your list, that's the problem. We could roster one of these guys, right? If Jared Triolo was the 26th man on this roster, you'd say, well, at least he gives you good defense, elite defense at several positions. He can't hit a lick, and I don't have any faith that he ever will. I would prefer that, he not be on the roster, but when you have him on the roster with Bay and Alika Williams and Yasmani Grandal, and when it was 11-2, why didn't we just bring Henry Davis in? I mean, might as well start getting him swings now. Yeah. You're right. It's not, like I said, it's year 5. Year 5. They themselves in the offseason, came out and said, we want to go to the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. And now they're just, it's just one, embarrassment after another. I mean, this is, I was embarrassed watching this game. I was embarrassed to be a Pirates fan. I'm embarrassed that I'm still sticking with this. Is this team ever going to get serious? Yeah. Is this ownership? Is this general manager?
The reason I read that list out loud is because it just kind of highlights how many players need to be cleared out if next year's going to go any differently. And I know I highlighted a group of people who today actually had like pretty decent games. Like Triolo had 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Bay had 2 RBIs, except Bay got the 2 runs back he handed to the Cubs because of his center field antics.
Yeah.
So
G1 Bay proof that being fast is not all it takes to be a center fielder.
That is correct. And I guess we'll get into who they are going to try to move there now. But the point is that with the money that the Pirates spend in the offseason, and with just how much help, because Hayes is going to be here. I know a lot of people want him traded. He's going to be here. He's going to be the everyday third baseman. You kind of have to live with that. So with that in mind, you now have to clear out, at a minimum, 5 guys who have an OPS under 650 and who are getting regular playing time on this team. And I don't know if they have the prospect capital, the willingness to give up the prospects, or the money to fill those holes. And so
the ability to select the right people.
That's
right?
very true.
If he spends the money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we're clamoring for Bob Nutting to spend more money, and I certainly do. But if Ben Cherington's writing, choosing who that money goes to, I'm not convinced that we're going to get bang for the buck. And that's why I don't complain about the payroll too much, because we don't do anything else right. We don't draft properly. We don't develop properly. We don't coach up fundamentals. We don't have a good hitting approach as an organization. It's like, oh yeah, let's go write a check, and we're going to go get two more 200 hitters that can't play defense, good defense at any position. It's I mean, you know what my answer is: fire, fire, fire. But
yeah, and let's do it. Let's put it this way: at the very least, the Pirates are in a unique situation where I don't think they really need to spend a cent on major league pitching next year, because I don't believe in paying relievers, and they have legitimately 7 or 8 options to go into the rotation. So if you're taking like the $30 or $40 million that you have in this offseason and even go out and get 2 decent hitters, like that helps so much more than all the 1-year deals we keep giving out who are plaguing this lineup.
Right. We don't need Marco Gonzalez and Martin Perez and Rich Hill. Right. Yeah, you're right. So there's whatever, $10 or $15 million that can go to a first baseman. Or a right fielder or a second. I mean, a shortstop. So.
Yeah, and like it's just a shame because this pitching staff is playoff material, and I think next year, like, you should get a rebound of Holderman and Bednar, and you're getting back Baraki and Moretus. Like, I think the bullpen should be good too. So you just have to figure out this lineup. I'm grasping for positives here, people. I don't know if you can tell. I'm desperately trying to find positives in this team.
No, you did. But you're 100% right. If this were a functioning organization, right? I mean, anybody that would see this pitching, rotation would say, "Man, you have got to capitalize on this." I've mentioned this many times. I mean, you should be capitalizing on the Skeens phenomenon anyway to try to build your fan base and that sort of thing. But set that aside. You've only got these guys for a short amount of time, more than likely, right? So if you're going to have cheap, controllable, outstanding starting pitching, man, go get some run support. Go get some guys that, and then coach them up fundamentally. That's free. Fundamentals are free. And try to get something done. Your division's still not very good. Again, the Cubs could be better next year and the Reds could be all that sort of thing. But generally speaking, with that pitching staff, you have an opportunity to be in almost every game. And you're going to go get Rowdy Tellez to play first base. You're going to make those kind of moves. You're going to get Brian De La Cruz to play right field. And, Sawinski's going to get another 200 at bats. And you're going to waste this pitching.
Yeah. So we get to tie it back into the game. You mentioned it earlier. We have a debut. We had another Drew Maggi. We had a Drew Maggi moment with Brady. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. Brady Feigl. And happy that he made it.
Feigl, I think.
Yeah. Feigl, yeah. Fairly happy he made it. Glad that he had that moment with his family. I think that was really nice. I actually don't care that was during the middle of the blowout because should just be lucky he's making his debut in the first place. And I think he got his health insurance for life. I think that's awesome.
I mean, that's true.
But 7 hits, 6 earned runs, and 1.2 earned, 1.2 innings of work. And I mean, what is there to say? He's not a major league pitcher, and so I was just kind of happy that he was out here getting his cup of coffee in the majors. Good for him, but because like
I said, it's a nice story.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because like Herman already sunk the game. So the fact that Brady comes in and gives up another 6 runs, like, does it actually matter? Not really. Like, it really doesn't. I can't be brought to be mad about this because he was given his shot.
Yeah, no. I mean, I agree with that, but certainly it would have been a nicer story if we were winning 11-2,
I agree.
that sort of thing, but no, I mean, it's just such, like I said, this was such a frustrating game on the top of getting sort of somewhat frustrating news earlier in the day. And just, yeah, I'm just disgusted. I'm disgusted with the whole thing. So,
yeah, like it's so hard to cheer for this team sometimes. I mean, the Cubs had 24 at bats with runners in scoring position today. 24. That is an insane amount to me, just because, I mean, Herman and Feigl were just batting practice today. They were tossing up. But not only were they batting practice, like they had like no control. They were either throwing it down the middle or it was out of the zone.
Yeah.
Herman walked 4.
Right.
Feigl didn't walk anyone, but he was just leaving meatballs down the middle. And so, you're not going to win many games like this. Like I said, I'm happy he got it in. But it's not fun to watch. It is not an enjoyable watch. And
no. I mean, the Pirates scored 8 runs and were never in the game from the 4th inning on. You score 8 runs. Yeah, you expect to win with Mitch Keller, starting especially. It was.
It's hard to imagine that we really. It's hard to imagine we're this upset when they scored 8 runs, because that never happens. But man, it's not looking good for us right now. All right, so we talked about Herman, we talked about Keller. Happy for Brian Reynolds. I'll just quickly touch on that. Got to his 20th home run. He continues to be grinding. O'Neal Cruz is getting really close to 800 OPS. Isaiah Kiner for left is fine.
He's got like a 17 game on base streak.
Cruz
has been playing. Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Gonzalez in his first game back goes 2 for 4, even though he does get thrown out at second, trying to stretch out a double with 2 outs for some reason.
Well, he was, but he overslid the bag because apparently, Pirates players don't really know where second base is. So they're, often, not making it quite to second base or making it pass or admiring their double, as if it, landed in the river and, on.
Oh my God. This was lost. I completely forgot about this until you mentioned it. Can we talk about how Isaiah Kiner Falefa was admiring his flyout today? I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
But like he's admiring a flyout. Like I think I tweeted this before. If you propose,
it's shocking. Yeah, go ahead.
If you propose this Pirate season, I think, as Bad News Bears with all the lowlights, I think it gets rejected for being too unrealistic. It wouldn't clear a Bad News Bears movie. It's embarrassing.
No, that's right. It's like, no, come on, they can't be that bad, right? No, it's amazing to me that players play 81 games a season at PNC Park. These Pirates do, and none of them have figured out that the north side notch is out there and that is the deepest part of the field. And they stand there and admire, hits, outs to that part of the field, or hits that, could be doubles or triples, but end up being singles or being very, very close plays at second. If you yank it down the line, fine. But when you hit it to center field here, you better run. Run until you see the umpire making that signal. But there's a lot of times it's going to be caught. A lot of times it's just going to, bounce off a wall or something. But nope, guys that have played here for 4 or 5 years still, admire those things. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that ends up being a small drop in the ocean of terrible things from tonight. And then I guess we can get to the last part that maybe we want to talk about. So if you haven't seen it already, what we're going to talk about, our friends did an North Shore 9. I think it was Ryan and Tyler. Donardo and Tyler.
No, Donardo and Tyler.
Donardo and Tyler, yeah.
I just want to say that the big three were going to do this show tonight.
Yeah.
And then they forced Neil and I, the B team, after the result, they're like, yep, sorry, bring the scrubs up. We're not doing it. Our contract says we don't have to do blowouts.
You can't see the gun being held to my head off camera, but it's there. But yeah, Leonardo and Tyler already did an emergency podcast about this, but I figured since there was nothing really to talk about, a whole lot to talk about with this game, that was fun. I was wondering, so you kind of touched on this earlier, but what do you think about the Pirates choosing to move O'Neal Cruz to center field?
Yeah, I wasn't able to listen to what Tyler and Denardo said. I will catch that first thing in the morning. But I'm not so upset that they're making a position change for him. I mean, he's not a great defensive shortstop. However, he's better than anyone else that we have that plays the position. 2 weeks ago, you were out there saying, look, he's, what he does at short is so great. It would just be silly to move him. And then, sort of just out of, let's say, center field, you make this move. When Pirates do position changes, when this organization or this management team they just botch everything, right? Henry Davis never plays right field. He's down in the minors. You have him at catcher, you bring him up and put him in right field. And you do so in a way by saying, he's a terrible, terrible, terrible catcher. So we're going to put him in right field, even though we know he's a terrible right fielder. So you sort of kind of hurt his confidence, embarrass him publicly, that sort of thing. And now you're sort of doing it the same way. They're like, oh my God, he's so bad at shortstop. Even though 2 weeks ago we said, we're going to move him into center field. We're going to we're going to let him shag some flies for 3 games before we put him out there. You're just setting him up for failure. He's a proud young man who I think probably, and I said this about Henry Davis last year. You ask Henry Davis what he did for a living, he'd tell you he's a catcher. He wouldn't say he was a baseball player. He'd tell you he's a catcher. And I think Cruz feels the same way about being a shortstop. And I'm not sure how good he'll be in center field. Yes, he's fast, but there's a lot more to it than that. He throws sidearm. There's a lot of things. I hope he can be great. I hope he puts the work in. I hope he takes the approach that Jazz Chisholm took when they moved him from second base to outfield. He said, I'm going to try to win a Gold Glove. But I don't know that's going to happen. To me, for this to work, you've got to have a viable shortstop, right? Cruz has to succeed in center. Your shortstop has to be, really good defensively, and it's got to provide some sort of offense. And it doesn't seem like we have any of that. It'd be different if we had, Bobby Witt Jr. ready to come up. Like, okay, it makes sense. Oh, we just signed Corey Seager. Okay, it makes sense. But Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I would have really preferred to have kept him in a sort of a super utility type guy.
Yeah.
And now he's our shortstop. I don't think that's his best defensive position. I mean, he's going to be fine at it, and he'll be good. He's a smart, crafty baseball player. But it just seems like a weird way to handle it. You couldn't have waited, just set him down to the winter league and let him play center field, and that sort of thing. But
here's the thing:
the Pirates.
I do not like this move at all, for several reasons. First of all, I think it's dumb to move someone just center field when he's never played in his professional career, unless there's just something you really like to see. But Cruz uses his speed and can be I won't say reckless is the right word, but I feel like there was a collision possibility in the outfield. I don't like that he's doing this on a restructured ankle. I don't like it because I think some of his errors have come from fly balls, and I don't see how that's going to be solved in center field. I don't like how a week ago we were Ben Sherrington says on radio that Cruz is a shortstop. It's best for the organization that he stays at shortstop. And I don't like that they're using it by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's worst defensive position is shortstop. The Yankees fans wanted him running out of town. He was playing shortstop every day. Right. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is his best when he is able to move around the diamond and fit in holes, because he's not the best hitter. He's never going to be a great hitter. If we're lucky if he's a slightly above average hitter. And I fundamentally disagree with the idea that you're messing with and you're changing drastically one of the few good things that are happening in this lineup. I don't like it. I don't like that one of the few guys who are clicking.
Can you see what next year's infield?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Next year's infield is Hayes. Hayes, Kiner Falefa, Nick Gonzalez, and whatever corpse they sign at first base, that does not. It sounds like 3.5 outs, every time through the lineup.
Yeah, I mean,
you're right. O'Neal Cruz. Jim just asked me about this on Sunday when we were excited about a walk-off win, and it's like O'Neal Cruz, he has a lot to work on as a shortstop, no doubt about it. But I think that's things he can do. There's room for improvement there, no doubt. But I think he can achieve that improvement. I don't think he's ever going to win a Gold Glove at short, but I think he he'll get a little more focus. He'll sort of settle down. Like you said, he's a little reckless. He wants to show what he can do. That'll calm down with more chances, more games, that sort of thing. And again, it's not like this guy played a lot of shortstop coming up, or center field. So you don't know what you're getting there. And now you're just putting him in a position to fail, in a position to embarrass himself. It just seems like it's like a bad idea in the first place, and then they're a poor execution of a bad idea. It's kind of the Pirates a double whammy,
And the last thing I'll say about it is that you can tell that this is the white flag, because I feel like they're going to try this, and they're only trying this because they know the season's over and they're not playing for anything. This is kind of like the
absolutely right.
We already knew the season. We knew the season was over 2 weeks ago. Like it's not like we didn't. Yeah. It's not that we didn't already know this, but man, it feels like this is the official white flag. But I feel like this is just going to go.
But you never want to see your team give up, right?
Yeah, you don't want to see it like.
We know that the season was over when Bednar and Holderman lost 6 games in a week. The season was over. But you want your organization saying, "Hey, we can run off 10 in a row. We can do it. We can win. That sort of thing." And it's still August, and they've said, our season's over, and now we're going to try some shit, and it's some stuff that we don't think is going to look too good.
Yeah, and I feel like this is just going to end up in just a Henry Davis type deal where they're going to try it. He's going to do it till the end of the season. It's going to be bad. He's not going to look very smooth out there. I really don't like risking his ankle like this. And they're just going to move him back to shortstop in the offseason because they realize that it's not worth it. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Well, right. 2 things will play out. He won't be good in center field. He won't be good.
If he works in center field.
Go ahead.
Sorry. If he works in center field, he would be one of the better hitters in center field. So it's obvious they're trying to maximize value with O'Neal Cruz by trying to see if he can stick there and have his bat be even more valuable playing center than shortstop. And I guess it might be easier to fulfill middle infield in the offseason than it is to fill center field, because I think the best bet for them is like Harrison Bader. And from that, I kind of understand. But it seems like this is so out of the blue and so haphazard that there wasn't an actual plan to implement this. And so you drop. You drop
general managers on the radio.
Yeah.
Right. Saying, we want to keep him at short because he's his bat's special and we think he can improve in the other areas. And now suddenly it's like, no, he's our center fielder. And I mean, if things go according to a Pirate script, he's going to struggle in center field. IKF is going to struggle at short, and you're going to scrap the whole thing. And had you just tried it a little differently, if you just would have waited to the end of the season, let him go to the Dominican League, play some center field, let him get some spring training under, that sort of thing, acquire a viable shortstop in the offseason, right? And then it all sort of, at least, okay, you can see a plan here. Again, there are reasons to do this. He might be better in center field than he is at shortstop. It might unleash, maybe taking some of that pressure off of playing shortstop. You may unleash some of his offensive potential in the outfield. There are reasons that you could make to do it, but the way they're doing it is just, there's no other word but piratey. It's just so poorly executed. And like I said, just, out of the blue, and waving the white flag. It's just ridiculous. And again, I hope it works. I would like to see O'Neal Cruz starting in center field in the All-Star game. I hope it works. But I really think you're going about it. I mean, I feel the same way they did with Henry Davis. Why wasn't Henry Davis playing right field at least once or twice a week in AAA before he came up? No, he was catching or DHing, and then we bring him up here and put him in right field. And you know how that ball's going to find him. There's going to be a bunch of balls hit into the notch, and Cruz is going to be running into wall. Now this may get G1B off the team, and that's good. That would make me happier. But
with
knowing the Pirates, just
Michael A. Taylor being on waivers, I think Bay is here to stay. And I mean, I guess he can't be worse in center field than Bay. So it is, but I think the bat is just naturally going to suffer.
Probably true.
Because now you're worried about learning a brand new position. I'm a little worried that he's not going to be like as able to lock in at the plate, just because we kind of saw with Henry Davis too. Like learning a new position is really, really taxing, especially when you're doing on the fly.
Right.
But this is our player-centric culture, so we just have to live with
it. Yeah.
But we've been going for 36 minutes about this terrible, terrible game.
Talking about the worst game in years.
Yeah. Right. The worst game. It was a Simpsons meme. It's like the worst game of the year so far.
Yeah. Worst baseball game ever. Comic book guy. Yeah.
Let's get out of here. We'll be back here tomorrow.
No sandwiches to give away. We will be back tomorrow.
Let's see.
Thanks, guys. Chat. You are masochists, but we love you, appreciate you, and hopefully we'll have better things to discuss tomorrow.
Well, I think we will, because tomorrow Jared Jones comes back. Tomorrow
Jared Jones pitches.
So hopefully he returns to good form against Justin Steele. But for now, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. If you want to watch the game with a lot of other fellow North Shore 9 fans, please join the Discord. There is an active community every single day talking about the game. They're a little sad today, but it's always a fun community. So please join that. But with that being said, we're going to get out of here. See you guys later.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.